So I would like to welcome also to the stage for the presentation the CEO of AFR-IX, Norman Albi, to present how they are using international connectivity through Europe to provide services also in Africa, and thereby also express that European, let's say, role in the international connectivity as well. Please, Norman.
Okay, good afternoon. Let me see if we have the slides. Okay. Okay, my name is Norman Albi. I'm the CEO of AFR-IX Telecom. AFR-IX Telecom is a telecommunications operator that we are focused on the connectivity between Africa and Europe. But also we have some initiatives on the subsea space, and I think maybe I'm not from Anacom, so maybe we can have the right presentation. Okay, so we have two initiatives. We come from the subsea world. Okay, we have been working in several subsea projects towards Africa, and in the subsea element, we have two initiatives. We are going to discuss one in deep here, which is the new submarine cable system, and the other one, which is the Barcelona cable landing station, which is an open access cable landing station. Let me see, we have the presentation now. Okay. Okay, let's see. In the case of, well, I will start making the introduction. Well, we have the first initiative we have, it was the Barcelona open access cable landing station, which is a cable landing station that has a different flavor. Let's say that from the official cable landing stations. What we did is that we advanced the need by the cable landing operators of having to process permitting in the different in the landing coast of Barcelona. So we understand that one of the key elements of a submarine cable project is to have the ability to identify and to process and to have in time the permittings to land the cables. So what we did from the Barcelona CLS is that we identified some routes between the coast of Barcelona into the 12 miles limit of the territorial waters of Spain. And then we identified a corridor on that segment for up to 8 fiber cables. So what we discussed with the authorities of Barcelona and the government of Spain, the government of Catalonia, because also from their side, they don't want one cable landing in the west of the city, one cable landing in the east of the city. Let's say that there is a lot of economical activities in the sea. So let's say that we all need to contribute a little bit to the ecosystem. So what we did is that we agreed between all of us to identify and to make the reservation of a cable corridor that will be included in the process of the cable landing station. So as a Barcelona CLS, we have the permits in principle for up to 8 submarine cables. We started processing them in 2018. And then we got the concession for the 8 permits in 2020. So we have these two initiatives. In this case, we are becoming an independent infrastructure operator. And here, maybe we shall go to the first of the initiative. We would like to introduce you the Medusa submarine cable system. Here, Medusa extends in Europe, but also extends somewhere else beyond of Europe. Here we have included only, because we were talking about EU and Mediterranean gateways, so what we have included is the EU to Mediterranean gateway connectivity. which is, it means that Medusa will be landing in Portugal, but will be also interconnecting France, interconnecting Italy, and interconnecting Spain, with a high capacity fiber count. We are talking about 24 fiber pairs, which is 20 terabit per fiber pair, so we're talking about a little bit less than half petabit of capacity. So that includes quite a lot of capacity for that segment. But this is let's say, the European side of Medusa, but Medusa has a minimum of 13 landing sites and a maximum of 16. So we cannot disclose with you now the rest of the landing sites, but let's say that in the Mediterranean we have 3 continents. We have Africa, we have Europe, and we have Asia. So let's say that Medusa at least will connect 2 of them, and we will see if there is any initiative to extend it to the 3rd one. So we expect to have, and we cannot disclose them, but several landing sites in the African continent. Today, we have seen some of the cables going into Africa that they have been exposed here. They have been more or less centered in the sub-Saharan continent. But in the case of Medusa, we will be targeting what is half of the traffic of the African continent. At this moment in time, Africa, at the end of the last year, was generating 24 terabits of capacity. So let's say that a little bit less than 50% of these 24 terabits of capacity are being generated in North Africa, and the rest are being generated in South Africa, in the Southern Africa, let's say. So as we know, we do this cable because we have a high presence in the Mediterranean, and we will discuss with you. But this is, Medusa with 24 fiber cables is let's say, one more of a new generation of cables that is coming. Okay, we have been talking until now. We have been having cables that they had 2 fiber pairs, 4 fiber pairs, the ones landing in Lisbon until now, okay, in Lisbon and the other locations, because the cables, they used to have very few fiber pairs and limited capacity. That was the technology. But today we have a situation is that in Europe we have about 1.5 petabits of capacity according to telegeography that Philippe mentioned before. So in the last data of telegeography, we have 1.5 petabit of use capacity, which is almost 45% of the available capacity. So we should have around 3,000 terabits of capacity, so 3 petabits of capacity in Europe, which are 48% of growth that we had between 2016 and 2020. And I would like to translate this number into fiber pairs. So if we take about 20 terabit per fiber pairs, and we say that we have 3 petabits of capacity, so if we divide, we are talking about 150 fiber pairs of the actual fiber pairs, of the 20 terabit per fiber pair. If we have a growth of 50% per year, it means that every year we need quite a large number of fiber pairs, of new fiber pairs, just to keep with the growth. If we don't keep with the growth, I don't say that we stop Europe, but if Europe is 56% of the US traffic and 80-something% of the Middle East traffic and 80-something% of the African traffic, it means that we are stopping the ability of Europe to be a data hub. So what we see in the scenario is new cables with high count of fiber pairs as Medusa, but I think that we have seen the presentation of Facebook where they were mentioning 16, 24 fiber pairs. So we need for resiliency. That's why we are landing multiple places in the Med. And then what we see is that the market is going fast. We had the experience before that we had one cable every few years, and now we're starting to have few cables every year, at least in Europe. And this is a change of speed. And we need to understand if we are able, we are ready to change this speed. And of course, we have another issue, that is the necessity of incremental investments in the subsea. We have seen that OTTs, they are doing major investments, but they are partnering with some other players. Some of them might be telecom operators, some of them might be infrastructure operators, some of them might be data centers, etc. So, if we have several cables per year, what is happening? That we are putting high stress on permitting. So we have large number of permits in line. This is not the case. I think that Jorge was saying we have 6 cables coming into Portugal in the future. We have some other places in Europe where we have almost 10 cables lining up to get the permit to land in some locations. So it means that something needs to be addressed here, and maybe we have to change the paradigm of processing permittings. We were listening about one single point stop on Portugal, which is definitely a very positive step, but also in some other countries we have this scenario. Then we have requirement for open access infrastructures. The cable landing stations, they need to be open. Barcelona CLS it is, and we will address this subject in some other locations. Another one is high capacity backhaul on fiber. So what before we used to land with 2 fibers, and so we needed to extend 2 fibers. Now we need to extend 24 fiber pairs. So I mean we need to extend 48 fibers. And in ring configurations. It means that the terrestrial networks, they need to be ready in 2 issues. They need to be ready first to have enough fibers at a cost-effective way to provide a reliable extension, and also these fibers, they need to be, let's say, protected fibers, that because they are the extension of systems that they cost millions of dollars and that they are operating 24/7. So these fiber cables, they should not be under any kind of any other program work or any other usage beyond the submarine systems. Okay, because finally, we cannot accept that one cable or one fiber cable, it's broken or has an outage because of a program work in the terrestrial network when the subsea system is working. And also, we have a stress on investments. We will talk about this. And also, we have a stress on vendor and installation of capacity. We were saying before that a cable system takes 4 years to 6 years. And if we want to build, and Medusa is one example, getting getting manufacturing facilities is a challenge from the vendor, but also getting cable ships is a big issue from the vendors. So how can we face all these challenges? Okay, permitting, today we call it a handicraft process, okay? So it's a process that we need to, let's say, to industrialize, okay? And industrialize is not only a single point of contact. We have this in France, we have this in Spain, in Italy, but it still doesn't speed up the process. So maybe we have to change the way that we do the things. And let's say that if we have an airport, and if like every airline that is going to land in the airport needs to build their own runway and ask for the permitting for the runway, that doesn't happen. So we need to go in a let's say in a alternative initiative that is try to identify cable corridors and to have pre-approved routes, okay, that later on can be, let's say, close with the marine surveys by the cable systems, but to have very clear entries into the main landing sites. This will remove one of the key drivers of the subsea systems. Of course, later on, we need to have open access infrastructures, both in the front haul. I mean, we should be able to use the front hauls, land roads, of course, the CLS, and also the backhauls. We need to have all the value chain to be able to land easily. In the investment side, we are an infrastructure operator, and in this case, we are not following the business model of the cable of the telecommunication operators. If not, we're following the business model of the infrastructure manager. We see, let's say that certain difficulties in the telecom operator space, which are under stress. They have 5G investments, they have a lot of networking investments. So what we are trying to analyze is if we have to implement some other business models in the subsea space, and one of them that might be appearing is the TowerCo business model on the subsea space, where let's say that the infrastructure, instead of being acquired by the telecom operator, is being used by the telecom operator as a service, and in the model of a lease, in a similar process and as it can be used in the mobile network and the telecom towers. And then the role of Europe, what we see is that I think we have been sharing that the key importance of the subsea space in the growth of Europe, in the growth of digital Europe. If we stop the subsea space, we stop Europe, and we stop the growth. It's not like we will be the data hub. Is that we shut down all the submarine cables, 1.5 petabits of capacity disappear, and Europe is an island. Okay, well, we will have some interconnection via Russia and maybe via Turkey, but let's say that they are key in all the terms for the valuability of the future, of the economical future of Europe. And I think that this is something that should raise the attention of the European Union, because it's a key item in the production process and the economical process of the European Union. And if we are not able to provide the right trends for this segment to grow and in the speed that is going to need to grow, then we are going to be stopping Europe. So what we see is that as ports and airports have been key for European development, digital ports, let's call it digital ports, and digital subsea highways shall be and shall have the same strategic priority. Thank you very much, and if you have any question, please let us know.
So thank you very, very much, Norman. So before you go, maybe just a very quick one. And so first of all, thank you very much for showing that it's not only important to connect to Europe, but within Europe and kind of also terrestrially. But then from your perspective, maybe I'm expecting the answer, and probably because of where you operate, like, is there any specific directions from Europe internationally that are more important than others? Or it's like, oh.
Well, let's say that European is a hub. As a destinations, as a percentage of the total traffic of the region, Middle East and Africa. Mm-hmm. In both regions, we are talking about 83 for Middle East, 82 for Africa. Africa has two groups. In Northern Africa, it's 100%, so 100% of the international traffic goes to Europe. And in the sub-Saharan Africa, it's between 65 and 75. So we have two differences. But the issue here is that both traffics compared to the transatlantic traffic are much smaller. And transatlantic traffic is let's say that 54% of the traffic of the US is going to Europe. So you say 54% is less than 80, but the traffic between US and Europe is huge.
Of course.
So as a total traffic, that's the large piece of it. But as Philippe said before, the largest growing estimations that we have, and Telegeography is, we were discussing with them a few weeks ago, and we see this is Africa. Africa is coming only from 24 terabit. The base is very low, so we are going to see a huge amount of growth on the 50s and 60s per year during the coming, let's say, at least 5, 6, 7 years.
So there will be space for more Guanos as well, and as well as more Medusas. And
there will be space for growth, and we'll see them.
Of course.
Okay,
thank you very much. Thank you very much.